So 2016, you started off with a bit of a bang on the 1st of Jan doing the Captain Cook's Fell race up in North Yorkshire, where you came fourth in that race. Following on with more fell running in March that year, doing the Wrekin Fell race in Shropshire.
Yeah, so I think the Fell race, the Captain Cook's one on the New Year's Day. I just did that for a bit of fun, and I came fourth. But then the Wrekin Fell race in March, the reason for doing that was that I noticed that it was going to be used for the selection for the inter-counties match later on in the year, and there was an opportunity to represent my county, Warwickshire. Now, Warwickshire doesn't exactly have much of a fell running pedigree, but I thought, you know what, I might have an outside shot at this. So I duly attended it, came sixth overall, and then it was a wait to see whether I'd been selected, and in fact I had, and I was absolutely over the moon. So, you know, in less than a year, I was now representing my county.
So after the Wrekin one, you did the Ronnie Bowker 10k, but then in the May, you actually entered the Inter-Counties Fell race, which was in Wales. How did you do on that one?
Yeah, so it was near Snowdon. It was I suppose a proper fell race, and actually I did really well getting to the top, and then it all really fell apart. It became apparent, I think, for the first time that I was absolutely terrible on downhills. So I came, I think, something like 48th man. But you know, it was the experience. I really enjoyed it, and you know, it was nice putting on a Warwickshire vest. After that, I then did my first half marathon. So it was like, I suppose, a year of progression. So I'd done my first 10Ks, and now I'd entered the half marathon. And up until that point, I think my half marathon PB was about 1 hour. Well, I don't think I'd ever broken 1 hour 20. That was done some years earlier when I was a younger man. And I did it in just over 75 minutes. So I came away really ecstatic. I'd done a 75-minute 15 half marathon, but then I was also really annoyed with myself that my legs had died in that last couple of kilometres. I just didn't have the energy in my legs to do sub 75 minutes. So it was a really good race, but at the same time it was always tinged with what it could have been.
So at the end of June that year, you did another 10k, which you did pretty well in, and then another Welsh race, this time racing the train.
Yeah, so that was like one of the turning point races for me. So I suppose you can see like my progression had really moved at a pace, and I suppose I'd gone from being running to lose weight to now running to being competitive. But I didn't actually, again, have any particular aspiration or goal in mind. But I did race the train because it's such an iconic race. The idea is that you race a steam train in Wales, and not that many people beat it. But I was doing it, and it's a tough race. It was my longest one yet, 14 miles, all effectively a cross-country race. And I was absolutely stunned. I came home second, and in fact at the halfway point I was not miles behind really the leaders, and then I caught them up, and in fact I then temporarily moved into the lead, or about to catch the leader, and then I turned my ankle really badly, and then that was that. It was then a case of just trying to defend my position. But I remember coming back, and I was telling you, Amy, you know, because you were on the train. In fact, I never saw you because I was so far ahead of it. And you asked how I'd done, and I'd come second, and you barely believed me.
Well, I felt awful that I'd, you know, been enjoying myself on a train, and you'd come second, and I'd not been there at the finish line to welcome you. Yeah,
but I mean, that for me was one of those real turning point races. And I thought, oh, hold on a minute, maybe I'm pretty good. I mean, I ran a really good race because I remember the weather was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, it was pouring down.
But also the wind was virtually gale force, so I knew in the first half to take it easy because it was an out and back loop, and I So I took it really steady on the outward 7 miles, and then gave everything in the return. It was just, I think, unfortunate that I turned my ankle. I don't know whether I would have won it, but it was certainly stacking in my favour.
And that year was the year that we did a tour around New England in the US, and it was your first international race at the Vermont University.
Yes, I mean, not much to say about the race itself, other than I think it probably wins the prize for the oddest award I ever got for coming second, which from memory was an apple pie. That was what I won. So we then chomped on that for the about 2 days solid. In America they don't do small apple pies, so that was about all we ate for 2 days afterwards on tour.
So after our return from a holiday in the US, you went straight in to do the Tamworth 5 miles, which was amazingly your first victory in the UK in an athletic sanctioned event.
Yeah, so I mean the Tamworth 5 miles wasn't a majorly big race, but it was rude not to do it, because actually it's the race that probably runs past closest to my front door, about 20 metres away in parts. And I stormed round and won, I think, fairly comfortably from memory. So yeah, it was my first ever race win, I think.
A winner of the Tamworth 10K this morning in a time of 34.14 was Lloyd Biddell. Congratulations, Lloyd.
Thank you very much.
How was it for you?
It was pretty tough in the end. Yeah, it's getting warm out there.
What was the course like?
Fast and flat. It's probably the fastest course out there, actually. Yeah.
I think it was named the 4th best 10K by readers of Runner's World about 4 years ago. So it's pretty flat. You would recommend the course, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty flat, although I represent Mercia fell runners, so it's not my normal terrain.
Yeah, so how does this compare to being a fell runner? Just explain for those people who don't know what fell running is. What do you do when you're running the fells?
It's quite simple, really. You run up a very steep mountain and run back down again.
So, obviously this is very flat. Is there any specific training for fell running?
Most of my training is actually on the road, but obviously if you're not blessed with hills around Tamworth, so the people who live in the Lake District and the like have a bit of an advantage over me.
Well, good luck for next weekend. Congratulations today. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So I think this was now my second half marathon. It was actually on TV on Channel 5. And I actually remember it quite well, because I happened to be running at roughly the same pace as the leading ladies, and I was actually on TV for a fair bit, and I came in at just under 75 minutes, 74:38. So it was a small PB, but I think actually I came back a tiny bit disappointed again. It was always double-edged with me, so I'd come under 75 minutes. I'd run the championship standard time, which was fantastic, but actually it was only about 40 seconds quicker than Derby earlier in that year.
You finished the year again with the Petzl Night Runner and the Wheaton Aston 10K, both of which you won compared to the previous year.
Yeah, so the Petzl Night Runner, I mean, I was miles quicker than I was in the previous year, but actually things had moved on at that point. It wasn't so much the races I was doing, it was now the goal of thinking, well, perhaps I could now do a marathon. So then I did the Wheaton Aston 10K, and actually had probably one of the best races I've ever had. I did 32:22, which even to this day actually stands up as, I think, my second fastest ever 10K, although admittedly I haven't done too many 10Ks since. And I absolutely stormed the course, so everything was starting to slot into place, and I think now I was trying to sort of move from just being a decent runner to actually trying to sort of put the pieces into place, try and work out the jigsaw of how to actually get to that next step up, which ultimately was the Manchester Marathon in early 2017.